Hi there, this is Eduardo. I am CEO of Market 8. Today I'm going to walk you through SaaS growth foundations and the challenge of transitioning from a sales-led strategy to product-led. So if you have been growing your SaaS with the sales-led model, you're going to be facing likely a bunch of challenges that seems like roadblocks to growth. There's long sales cycles, complex products. You have a situation where customers are buying by committee. You're not dealing with one buying person. You're dealing with many at the same time. And you have the issue of the process to approve large budgets. It's complex and it's convoluted. So your sales-led go-to-market strategy is constantly under pressure. And there's really three tidal waves that pressure is coming from. The first one is that startups are a lot more expensive to grow. The customer acquisition costs have been going up as a result of the entire industry, and more awareness of the entire concept of software as a service is now, it's very popular, right? So there's a lot of competitors and across many categories, and everybody seems to be competing for attention from the same people. So costs to acquire have increased 55% just from 2015 to 2020. And number two is that buyers now really prefer to self-educate. 70% of B2B buyers really fully define their needs before engaging with sales rep. And that's common, right? I mean, do we want to be annoyed with a salesperson? I mean, you want to go and learn by yourself before making a decision, actually raising up this to the higher management for buying consideration. So you want to educate yourself. And the number three is when the product experiences are really becoming an essential part of the buying process. That means that a lot of the buying decisions, to 80%, are based on the buyer's direct experience with the product. And so I'm going to show you two stories of scaling with a sales-led strategy. One of them is with Norman. Norman's grows a SaaS company by selling to the enterprise. And he takes the sales-led approach, and he's big on the sales-led approach. He really believes in it. On the other side, you have Brad, and Brad grows his SaaS company by selling to the enterprise also, but he sees the speed bumps on the sales-led approach. So let's go through their stories. Stage one. Norman is taking all feature requests. So you have a situation where a big customer comes in, makes a bunch of requests, and he feels like he needs to fulfill them, right? So the problem with that is the product gets quite complex, and then onboarding becomes difficult, right? I mean, you have to go and go through this process of implementation. Maybe the nature of the product dictates that as well, and it's difficult to simplify. So he gets single-digit growth. Brad, on the other side, you have a situation where he acknowledges that custom development requests are a problem, and he still has this difficult onboarding process and slow growth. But the mistake that Norman is doing is that he's allowing custom work to dominate the roadmap completely versus Brad is here to discerning strategic versus non-strategic requests. So what that drives Norman is to have a unclear product vision. It's difficult to understand, but he fears that turning down any new request will limit revenue. Whereas Brad on the other side is really focusing on this big area of audacious goal of solving one difficult problem for thousands of people instead. So basically, Norman is having trouble focusing his team efforts, and Brad is aligning the team around the one thing. So Norman and his team are starting to lose focus. The product tries to solve too many problems for too many people. The team is no longer clear on their value proposition to the market. We're confused. Brad on the other side thinks it's time for change. He's like, what if we shift focus to this one thing and go back to the foundations? So problem here is that Norman is trying to solve everything for everyone, and will keep doing that. Brad, on the other side, prioritizes roadmap to solve the core problem, but starts really refocusing his team. So Norman Strat continues to add complexity. Pricing becomes custom only. I mean, you have to have a conversation with the customer every single time. Sales cycles are long as a result of that. Come with complex add-on services, and growth remains low. Brad, on the other side, aims to kill complexity. He strips the product down to its core functionality, starts really shifting towards product-led. It labors the sales process, shortens sales cycles, and growth accelerates. So Norman here is focusing on the sales rather than improving product. And that's a mistake that he's making. That is guaranteeing that he stays in low teens growth. Whereas Brad is actually incorporating product-led growth approach. Last stage, the competitors start eating their lunch. So customers really start looking for competitive products that are simpler, because this one is just too complex, too difficult to understand, too difficult to adopt. As a result, the cost of acquisition goes to the roof. Churn starts happening, and because he has this low growth, he's stuck in a weird situation where he really can't attract investors to really reinvest in the product and get things right. Whereas Brad starts experiencing the hockey stick growth. He stays close to the vision, gets double-digit growth, product priority increases, and this naturally attracts the attention of investors. So mistake number 5 here, he believes that success depends on an immense sales effort. So he's limited to that, at least. And the success factor here for Brad is staying true to vision, and then really start accelerating at the right time once the product's ready. So there's 3 issues of the sales-led strategy embedded in these 2 stories. Number 1, customer acquisition costs are sky high. And this drives a premium to the price, because that's the way to increase LTV and make that equation of LTV to CAC ratios convenient and adequate. The truth of the matter is that a lot of these things are expensive just because it takes more effort to sell, not because it actually is delivering more value. So the more it costs you to sell something, the more it will cost others to buy it. This is Paul Graham from Y Combinator. Then second issue is you have leaky, high friction funnel. There's a disconnect between marketing and sales, and then the whole system rewards creating friction, because you want to put barricades in front of every lead gen mechanism you have in the front. And with that disconnect, because the lead gen is not really necessarily tied to the customer experience, you have this result, like 98% of MQLs never result in closed business. You're spending all your time on hitting a lead gen MQL metric where that's actually not turning into business, and actually sales is operating completely separate from the marketing efforts. And what that leads me to the third big issue is the misaligned organization. A lot of sales-led businesses seem to structure this way. You have a profit center with sales, marketing, customer success, and a cost center with engineering and product. And what that does is that it makes product an afterthought, because sales is leading the path, right? The new big customer comes in, new requirements, product has to comply, and the roadmap gets dominated by customer requests. Big customer, big budget requests, right? So truly great SaaS companies are built to become product-led. And this is a direct quote from a SaaS business that was suffering through some of these problems. He said, "My biggest regret is that our first customer was a 1 million ACV, big elephant. Ever since that first customer, product, go-to-market, support model have been pulled in one direction, the high-end enterprise. And this has forced us to get on the elephant hunting treadmill, and we've never been able to get off of it. It ignites a machine, but everything starts working that way, right? So as a board employees, everyone expects us to go after customers that are as large as the first one. And I've been watching this new competitor emerge that's going after the same market as we are, except from the low end. They're tiny, but growing rapidly. And it's too hard for us to compete with them. We don't have the people, technology, stack, support model, or frankly, the mindset. And so a transition is needed if they want to change the story, right? So how can you turn around that story and be less normal? So here's what the transition looks like. First, I want to show you a quote from HubSpot. VP of Marketing says, the future of growth belongs to product-led companies. And HubSpot, we realized this a few years ago, which is why we disrupted our own business before anyone else could. At the time, HubSpot was still growing 30 to 40% per year on the shoulders of our original marketing and sales-driven inbound marketing model. Despite the success, we consciously chose to upend what had been working by launching our first freemium products. Market dynamics and consumer behavior have changed. Increasingly, consumers expect to use software and extract value from it before buying. To stay relevant over the long term, we needed to adapt or risk getting our lunch eaten. This is Ken Flanagan, VP Marketing at HubSpot. So what's embedded in that is that, well, there's one rule for sustainable SaaS growth, and that is I'm successful when my customer is successful, right? And customer success is really achieved by delivering value through product. Because if you're solving a problem and doing so well, then your path to success is well aligned. So you have your customer success first is a big bucket. At the center of that, you have your product. And at the center of your product, you have the jobs that your customer wants to hire your product for. So it's a matter of really discovering that. So going product-led means organizational alignment around the product. It means you have the product there, sales, marketing, customer success, and engineering are all aligned towards that one need. And they start looking at the product as the primary asset for each one of those functions. For instance, you have a marketing team in a product-led organization asking, how can we use our product as a number one lead magnet? You have product-led sales teams asking, how can we use the product to qualify our prospects for us? We have a product-led customer success team asking, how can we create a product that helps customers become successful without our help? Because it's so intuitive to use. And product-led engineering team is asking, how can we create a product with a quick time to value? As you can see, product becomes central. And to do that, well, you have to build the foundations of long-term product-led SaaS growth. And the way to do that is to retool your SaaS to deliver value to your customers. So you have to go back to value and to your core customer. And the first step of that is to go back and discover what is the core value, what is the right problem you want to solve for your customers, and then define that value, define your value proposition. How are you going to solve that problem? How do you articulate that? And do you map the buying process? Because you want to understand how the buyer buys today so that we can start thinking about how to make that process simple. Third step is designing value. So you're going to map your funnel and track it, and then identify specific product and sales process improvements that can make this whole experience for the customer better and get him to experience value faster. Then is deliver value, right? The overall growth strategy, set up channels, delabor the sales process through product improvements and sales automation. That means that you're going to look and decompose the sales process and really start implementing tactics that can make that process a lot simpler, easier, with less friction, and as well making product improvements that can make the experience better. Develop value is innovate around the buying process. So you continue to iterate and optimize performance, both of product and the buying process. And then you repeat this for new markets. So if you want to go and then select a new niche or a new market, a new geography, however you define winning markets, you repeat this process. And there's those three foundations, the three things, three core problems that building the foundations of growth for your SaaS will help you overcome. The first one is get value right. It's about delivering value to your market, right? So the only way to do that is to align your organization around the core value you provide. And this means making improvements to the product. It may mean tweaking and shifting your sales process and marketing tactics so that you can start using the product as the centerpiece of those programs. Get sustainable growth. It's the second problem that this process will help you overcome. So you're going to build a growth engine that leverages core strengths and the product. And it's about delaboring. By delaboring, I'm going to look for areas that can be completely automated or eliminated from the sales process. And a lot of those ideas are going to be product-led. So as long as a guide and North Star for this is to align always to the value, how do you get the customer to value sooner? And the third problem is improve the CAC to LTV ratios. Get the process in place to acquire better customers in the most efficient process possible. And you're going to leverage your inner strengths for that. So we have a track record of really helping a lot of companies add growth and shift into a product-led mentality and strategy and align their teams around value. So I have a few examples here. I'll post a link here so you can take a look at those case studies. So in sum, if you believe the following are important, a product-first strategy. Number 2, alignment around the core problem to solve for your customers. Number 3, if you believe in delivering the buying process through product and sales automation. If you believe in making organic growth a priority, and if you're really in data-driven approaches and you believe that growth comes from all parts of the funnel, it's not just an acquisition problem, but it's a full funnel problem. It's a product problem too. If you believe in this, then we should talk, because that's what we believe in as well. And we'll be glad to walk you through, or at least create a plan that you can follow, whether on your own or hiring the resources to do it. But the process to go and implement a product-led strategy, especially coming from a sales-led traditional approach where you have traction, you have success, and you seem to be stuck in the middle there because you don't know how to accelerate growth. And to accelerate growth, you have to go back to value and simplify the product. Well, a transformation is needed of some sort, whether simplifying the current process or coming up even with a slighter version of the product to reignite growth. So we can certainly take a look and give you our 2 cents. So here's my info. I'll post this link to this presentation and look forward to speaking with you. You can feel free to schedule a time and we'll chat. Thank you.